Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so elated and excited to celebrate with you today, Omari Martin. Now, Omari is somebody that I have watched from afar for years. I have seen his name in so many places, and now him being a big dog at Kepler College, and I teach at Kepler College once a year. So it's really exciting now to be able to sit with Omari, to talk with him more personally and learn more about him as well. Now, because his reputation is just so grand, of course, I had to ask him to come to Synchronicity University. And I'm really excited to tell you that it is Omari who is part of the March 2023 speaker series at Synchronicity University. And you've got literally just a couple of weeks left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from this caliber of astrologer. And you're about to find out the one and only PH candidate. It is Omari Martin. Omari, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. Certainly a pleasure to be here and to spend some time with you. I've seen your name through the years as well. So this is just great for me to have an opportunity to be a part of what you do at Synchronicity University.
Thank you so much, Omari, because really, I know you are always speaking at different conferences, teaching, and you're so dedicated to astrology and education. And it's very obvious, not only because, you've taught like all over the place, all over the world for so many years, but also, of course, like I said, you're a PhD candidate. Now, that is some tough stuff to be a PhD candidate. How is that going for you?
It's going great. I literally have to do a rewrite of chapter 1 and send that back to my dissertation chair. I've also started working on chapter 2. Yes, there'll have to be 1 or 2 rewrites of chapter 2, but my goal over the next 5 weeks out of this 10-week term is to get approval from the dissertation chair for chapter 1 and chapter 2. So it's a PhD in business management, specializing in accounting.
Wow. So that's a whole other part of your brain than astrology. And I mean, I remember when I was in graduate school, there's that astrologer part, but I was still studying sort of an astrology-friendly subject. It was cosmology and divination. And we had some really big dog astrologers there teaching, like Patrick Curry, like Jeffrey Cornelius. But still, there was a lot of hostility or need to be a little bit careful with the wider university. Like you could kind of feel that it wasn't necessarily very astrology friendly, but then you're also like a big dog at Kepler College, which is so astrology focused. So how do you balance those two different worlds?
Oh, great. Thank you. So balancing those two worlds, well, I love them both. Obviously, I love astrology as a professional member of the American Federation of Astrologers, board chair, Kepler College, board member of AFA. And so I actually married them together in the form of astropreneurship. So I like business, and I really love entrepreneurship, and I love astrology. So I created a second business, astropreneurship. That's how I married the two of them together. And astropreneurship is taught at Kepler College 5 weeks during the summer term, most years. And it's great because I get to marry together two things that I really love. And I really took it so far in that astropreneurship is a registered service mark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And really to allow that to signify, if you will, my commitment to entrepreneurship and to business, because I do talk about intellectual property when I teach that astropreneurship class at Kepler, and it certainly helps if I can say the proof is in the pudding.
Oh, I love it. I know Kepler College is so career focused for astrologers. That's part of what I love about it, and so much more. They've had such a commitment to quality astrology, quality education in astrology. You used to have a master's program there that I was, very much felt connected to because of my own academic astrology background as well. And so I love that there are many business, I teach my own business class with a different slant, but oh my God, you're a PhD candidate for business. You're going to be Dr. Omari in business. soon enough. And when that day comes, I will celebrate with you wherever you are in the world. I don't know.
Oh,
I'll do
thank
something
you.
to celebrate. I don't know, have a noisemaker and I'll shake that noisemaker
Excellent.
on camera
Excellent.
for you. Yeah, yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I'm really
Thank you,
excited.
Nadiya.
But yeah, like it's incredible that you're able to like think, oh yeah, I got to patent this. And you're teaching astrology, but you're teaching astrologers how to be professionals because that's a big part of
Yes.
what we do. If you're going to,
Yes.
yeah, like I really believe you can do anything you want, but you do have to be entrepreneurial in our world today. And so I
Yes,
love it that
definitely.
you're able to help astrologers tap into that very spirit to understand, yes, you can be a full-time astrologer. If you love astrology,
Mhm.
you can make this your career. But yeah, you do got to be entrepreneurial in today's world.
Yes, exactly. And so, really introducing students in the class who already have an interest in astrology, of course, but to say, hey, this is how you set up a budget. These are some things to think about relative to financing. And we cannot forget about accounting, things of that nature, just to introduce it, answer questions, provide guidance, offer some additional resources, and allow them to take it from there. And just give them a solid foundation to work with on their own journey to entrepreneurship, or as they're choosing to make some next steps inside of entrepreneurship.
Well, I'm very proud of your work at Kepler College, but then all this business talk brings us to the fact that you are bringing kind of a business topic to Synchronicity University. So once again, everybody, Omari is going to be at Synchronicity University as part of the March 2023 speaker series, where for just a few weeks left, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class. Now, Omari's class is on vocational astrology. So just describe what that means to people out there, vocational astrology. I know it's a hot topic, but yeah, go for it. Describe it.
Okay, thank you. So, vocational astrology is when the professional astrologer is going to look at the second house, how you earn your income, house number 6, the work or the service that you do, and also the 10th house, which is your career. And even with that brief, succinct explanation, some of you may be wondering, well, what would be the difference between the work that I do and my actual career? Well, one distinction or example that I can share with you is that of those individuals who really dream of the silver screen or being on Broadway. And before they get their very big break, they may actually work in retail or work at a restaurant. So the work that they do in retail or at the restaurant would be work and service. However, they're really aiming for a career in Hollywood, big entertainment, or on Broadway. So that would be a distinction, if you will, between the work and service that one would do relative to the career that they really want.
And yeah, that's the contrast between the 6th and the 10th house that you're talking about there. And so, of
Mhm.
course, looking at the sign on the cusp is going to be important. How would you also then understand the second house? Because I know that's also what you're going to talk about is the 2nd, 6th, and 10th in your class. How do you make the distinction between the 6th and the 10th, which you've mentioned, and the second?
Mhm. Okay, and with the second house, that's the money that you earn. So for the most part, it's money, values, possessions, and also in the case of vocational astrology, talents. So I maintain the position that all of us are born with natural gifts, if you will. And if you think you were not born with any natural gifts, that means you yourself are the gift. So all of us are born with our gifts, and you really get an opportunity to discover what those gifts are for yourself, and not only for your own benefit and personal gain, but for the benefit of all humanity. And that may take some time. Yes, you may have to learn this subject, learn that subject, and actually spend some time discovering what you like inside of experiencing, I don't like this. But to some degree, for some of us, it is trial and error. And for some of us, it's like the day you're born, although you can't verbalize it, you have a sense of what you're going to do when you grow up.
Right? That's so true. But it's
Mhm.
interesting because sometimes what you think you're going to do and then what you actually do, they can be very different. But in a way, you kind of do end up doing what you think you're going to do, right?
Oh,
Like
I gotta raise my hand.
okay, yeah, I know, right? Because I remember when I was a kid, I just wanted to give people hope. I wanted to inspire people. And I
Mhm.
thought I needed to be Madonna in order to do that. Like literally, I thought, well, she's the one who gets all the attention. She's the one that people are listening to. Now, of course, this is going way, way back. And then I remember the day, it was my Saturn return, actually, just, and Pluto conjunct my moon right at the same time, which is the chart ruler. So that's the astro about it. But that was the day I realized that the world already has a Madonna. It doesn't need another Madonna, but
Mhm.
maybe it could use a Nadiya Shah. And I had no idea who that was, none.
Mhm.
And it's incredible to me that astrology was the thing that really helped me to navigate that really painful time where I felt like I didn't know who I was. And yeah, like my midheaven is Pisces. Yeah, what I do is very Piscean. It is that sense of giving hope. But as you mentioned earlier, in terms of the sixth house, I do it in a Sag way with Sag on the cusp of the sixth. So it's amazing how these things manifest.
I agree with you. I mean, when I was a little boy, I actually want to be a train engineer. I wanted to be the man in front of the train, driving the train, although it's already on tracks. But so I'm really controlling the speed. And so that's what I wanted to be when I was a little boy. And yes, every Christmas I wanted a new train set. And so you go to school, you learn some more. And so then in high school, I thought about what do I want to major in college? And I said, oh, I want to major in accounting. And I did that, majored in accounting, and I just knew I would take the CPA exam, Certified Public Accounting exam, pass it, work for, at that time, one of the big six accounting firms and work real hard and make connections and network. And then one day, make partner. Well, that didn't happen. And
Yeah.
so I have not had a role as an accountant. And at the same time, I am a college professor who teaches both accounting and finance classes. So I teach in both disciplines. And I'm satisfied with that. I'm pleased with that. And what I recognized about teaching the subject, you get to stay on top of your A game because the new information will eventually, not I shouldn't say eventually, but it will make its way into the textbooks. And then I read about it and learn about it. And then I have an opportunity to teach it to students. And then along the way, like yourself, you discover astrology. And it's like it beckoned me. And the first time I had my chart done, I never met that astrologer. And I got the chart and I looked at it, and I was more fascinated with the chart wheel and all the numbers on the house cusp and the numbers next to the planets. And at first, I didn't know what all of it meant. And I was so fascinated by that. I wanted to learn. I could see it was mathematical, and I really wanted to learn the mathematics of astrology. And I did that. And I was really drawn in by that. And as the years went by, you learn more. You're like, wow, you learn more. You go, wow. And even to this very day, I would have each of you to know I'm still learning. I'm actually a teaching assistant to one of our most esteemed faculty members at Kepler College, Carol Tabbs. So I'm her teaching assistant. I'm her Padawan for those who are Star Wars fans. So I'm her Padawan, and I'm learning from her. I mean, what a gift it is to continue learning. So everyone, yes, I'm a certified professional astrologer 3 times over. And please know I continue to learn about astrology and I'm enjoying it.
It's fascinating because I came to know of you and your name as a teacher, but there's so many ways in which you do that astrologically with business and so much more. And the way that you merge them together is such a powerful thing. Okay, so I want to be sure that people, get some insights, right? Because they're watching
Okay.
this. I would love for them to have a takeaway of some kind. So, how about this? We go through maybe just a few keywords. We go through the signs of the midheaven. Okay, so for everybody out there, when you look at your chart, the midheaven is the highest point in the chart. It's the start of the 10th house, and whatever sign that's in can speak to how do you understand that? What does the sign of the midheaven speak to for you? How do you describe that, the significance of it?
Oh, the sign on the midheaven speaks to your career orientation and how in your public standing, how you'll be seen in the public. And so we'll just start with that first sign, which is, Aries. Yes, you may have the public may perceive you as one who is impulsive, definitely ambitious, meaning you go after your goals and you get it done. Some people looking at you would probably wish you would think about it first before you just rushed in. But that is what we would find there. And I will add, since we know that Mars is the ruler of Aries, there are certain significant generals or military men in history, and I can't call any of their names off the top of my head, but it seems to be that a few of them actually have Mars in the 10th house, and it's in the zodiac sign of Capricorn, and we'll get to that soon enough. But that seems to be something that stands out, that they have that Mars in Capricorn in the 10th house, whereas what's exalted in the 10th house. So definitely we could associate athleticism with that. And then let's move to Taurus. With Taurus, luxury, beauty. This is someone who may own a barbershop or beauty salon, maybe involved in something that has everything to do with beauty. And I would even add wine for good measure. Someone who has a career, making wine. I had an aunt, a great aunt, who taught me how to make it from scratch.
Wow, that's a good skill to have for some people.
She's from Mississippi, so she told me this: that you do with the grapes, and you do this, that, and the other. Get the cheesecloth, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And I actually made some, and I was like, "I think it had too much kick."
So it's actually a spirit.
It had too much spirit to it. Yeah, but it was great. And so when I think of Taurus on the midheaven, that's what comes to mind. And I would even add perhaps a jeweler to that, because Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Let's move forward to Gemini. Without question, a newscaster, a broadcaster on the news, someone who has a significant career with a newspaper or a magazine. I don't know her chart, but the lady's name, I've seen her on a few documentaries, Anna Wintour, who is a long-term editor of one of the fashion magazines. I want to say it's Vogue, but don't quote me on that. I'm not totally into the fashion world. Okay, thank you. And I've never seen her chart, so I don't know. But she is someone who comes to mind who may possibly have Gemini on the midheaven or Mercury signified in her natal chart in some way relative to her career. Based on what she's done over the past 20, maybe 30 years, there has to be some kind of tie with that. At least I certainly think that it is. And so also someone who's involved with writing books, depending on which zodiac sign Mercury is in as the ruler of the 10th. If it's in Scorpio, you have someone who may write mystery novels, like, Murder, She Wrote, something like that. Who killed so-and-so and so-and-so, something like that. And then we move on to the next zodiac sign, which is Cancer. Well, we have the moon there. So certainly someone who is in one of the nurturing professions, a nurse, someone who wants to bake for everybody. Be careful, you will gain weight. You're going to pick those pounds up. So certainly, and not just cooking, but, baking or nurturing people through food. Someone who works in the hospital. Maybe if the moon is in Capricorn, you have a hospital administrator. When the moon is in Capricorn, it makes the moon less subjective, maybe even less emotional, because the dispositor would be Saturn. So that's what comes to mind when I think about Cancer. After Cancer, we have Leo. Okay, this is someone else who wants to be in the spotlight. This is someone who I would say in some shape, form, or fashion, they have to be a celebrity. Even if the individual is a celebrity on social media, maybe not the big screen, maybe not the little screen, maybe not Broadway, maybe even a celebrity in their local church, as a singer or someone who has positioned themselves to be the center of attention. and get that attention because they aim, strive, and just live for that. And that's okay. So after Leo, we have Virgo. Once again, I think that could also indicate nursing or health, but also someone who may be more involved with a dietitian, if you will, some career where they have to pay attention to details, maybe even a chemist, because you got to analyze the details and build those molecule models or whatever they're called. But certainly something Virgoan in nature that involves a lot of analysis, because the person would be drawn to that. I think naturally, just as a natural aptitude, if you will. And then even after Virgo, we have Libra. That someone would probably do well with relationship counseling, family counseling. Even beyond that, with the Libra is the only inanimate zodiac sign where you see the scales of justice. Perhaps maybe depending on where Venus is, if Venus is in Sagittarius, maybe this one may become an attorney. You never know, something with justice, but balancing out those relationships. So Nadiya, that's the first 6. That's the first half. I just want to pause, let you ask me a question.
Let me get
a little sip of water real quick.
Yeah, let me get some. The students who take classes with me, they know I have what's called my magical elixir. This is what I drink whenever I'm teaching or recording. This is a secret now between you and me and everybody, the thousands of people who are going to watch this. This is the magical elixir. And what is it? It is Coke Zero. That's what the magical elixir is, Coke Zero.
Look, I was about to ask you, what is it made out of?
Magical chemical ingredients.
Oh, wow. So cool. So cool. Yes.
I also wanted to just quickly add, because while you were talking, I did pull up Anna Wintour's chart. Just to let you know, we don't have a time of birth on her.
Okay.
However, she does have her Mercury at 29 degrees of Libra. So it has the Venus rulership, right? So that makes so much sense for what she does. Absolutely.
Yes, because fashion is beauty. And that magazine talks about beauty. And I thank you for checking that. And it's at 29 degrees. So that's a critical degree. Okay, so love it. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Yeah, so there has to be a tie, especially for someone who has been on a certain career path for X number of years and they've been very successful. And if they're not known all over the world, they're known in that country. If not the country, they're known in that state. If not the state, they're known in that city. And I'll go so far as to say, without doing any research according to the scientific method, at least 8 to 9 out of 10 times, we'll see that kind of tie, if you will, that you just identified in Anna Wintour's chart. So thank you for that, Nadiya. Thank you.
Yeah. Isn't it so powerful the way that people end up living their charts? Again, we don't know her birth time. And to know your midheaven, we need to know your birth time. However, in her own way, she's absolutely living that chart and showing us a whole lot in the process. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, it is Mercury in Libra. Segue to Libra now. How do you feel? You feel ready to jump into the last 6? I mean, you're just so brilliant. I can just turn my camera off, turn over Synchronicity Web TV to you. You know what you're doing. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you, Nadiya. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. So let's dive into the next 6. So we're going to start with, Scorpio. Very intense, dark, brooding. I would even say this may be someone who is a funeral director or caretaker or involved in a career that involves the end of life for human beings. I would even add someone who may work in a crematory where cremations take place with Scorpio on the midheaven in that regard. And that's what those are the careers that come to mind. And even on a stretch, maybe even someone who is an artist and maybe their artistry is on the dark side or just a little different, but in a good way, not necessarily a bad way. But those are some of the careers that come to mind with Scorpio on the midheaven. And Scorpio, as we know, ruled by Pluto, the modern ruler. If you go with the modern ruler, I work with both. I like to look at the traditional ruler and the modern ruler. But in this instance, I'm referencing the modern ruler, and Pluto is associated with, death, if you will. So I think that would be a fit for someone with Pluto, Scorpio on the midheaven to be involved with that profession in some shape, form, or fashion. And so next up, we have Sagittarius. This is someone could be the captain of a ship, someone who would want to be the pilot of an airplane, someone who wants to lead or perhaps be in charge of a journey. And I don't want to say smaller scale, but at the community level, this could be someone who drives a bus, on the public transportation system. This could be someone who drives a school bus for children. That person is leading the journey. Oh, it could be the train engineer who drives the train.
Do you have a Sagittarius midheaven? You seem like you would.
I do not have a Sagittarius midheaven. I actually have a Taurus midheaven.
Wow. Okay, so I think that's the handling of money. That's why you were like accountant.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it's the accounting and the finance. The two are, go together in some respects. So yes, that would be the Taurus on the midheaven, because that's money. And I want to just say a little more about that, Nadiya, as it relates to my own personal history, to really bring this to life for our audience today. One of my former careers was that of a retail banker. I worked for Crest Star Bank for approximately 7 years, and I started off as a teller, and then I was promoted to a retail banker, which is the person who greets you when you walk into the bank. And I actually know what $1 million in cash actually looks like. I have seen it more than a couple of times. And I actually told the assistant manager that it was psychological abuse for me to count any of that money because I couldn't spend one penny of it.
Now, I have a question. What did it smell like? How sometimes money comes out of the machine and you can smell it already.
It does. Brand new money does have a smell to it. Mm-hmm. It's akin to the new car smell. It's not the same, but brand new money that is freshly wrapped directly from the mint. And I want to add, I was in Washington, D.C. So this bank was in Washington, D.C., where the Federal Reserve Bank, is headquartered, anchored there. And the money was shipped to us, and we would literally just take it out of the plastic bag, like you would remove socks, from a plastic bag, and you can smell the money, you feel the money. And with new money, you have to be careful because you could potentially get a paper cut with brand new money, that is. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So you got to count all of this money and make sure every bill is there and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah. So I actually know what it looks like. $1 million in cash. And I enjoyed my times working at the bank.
Now that I think about it, I actually did see $1 million in cash as well in Las Vegas. So in Las Vegas, one of the casinos, they have it like under lock and key, of course, in a big acrylic box and everything. But you can actually take a picture with $1 million and stuff. And I remember the first time I was in Vegas, I did do that. And it was just, for kicks. I have an Aquarius sun, so I think I'm one of the least materialistic signs out there. But it's still fun. Why not? It's a part of the human experience. Right. Money is something we've manifested. So it was just for giggles, and it is fun. And, we're so blessed that sometimes I think that we can get very much in the numbers. And look, a lot of people who are going to take your course, they want to understand how to make money, and understanding money, career, work. That connection is going to matter to them in terms of the class that you're going to be teaching. And so I understand that. But at the same time, it's so valuable to consider how we're able to have experiences that maybe you can't necessarily put a number figure on. We're able to reach people, have a positive influence, become immortal through the positive influences we have. Here's somebody with a packed tent house. Of course, that's why I'm thinking this way. But yeah, it's incredible how all of this is part of the human experience. So yeah, you got to hang out with $1 million. So did I in Vegas. It was in an acrylic box, but yeah, I did that too.
Yeah. So it was real cool, but certainly I think that's definitely a good example of Taurus on my midheaven with Venus as the ruler, and that security. That's money. And I study accounting and finance. I teach accounting and finance, and I worked at that bank for 7 years. Mm-hmm.
So fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I think we go to Capricorn. We got three signs left. Capricorn.
So we go to Capricorn.
On the midheaven, yeah.
Yeah, so with Capricorn on the midheaven, these are individuals who want to come in and give it a new structure. They can redesign things, help put things in order as they should be. These are individuals who would be professional, they would operations, project management professionals. It can even give you, that's even a professional designation, PMP, project management professional. You take an exam, you pass it, you can put those 3 letters behind your name. These are also individuals who would be very efficient and effective when it comes to operations management and process improvement. They will be able to identify those gaps that need additional resources. They would be able to say, this is how we can get rid of this bottleneck that's in the process so that we can improve service to customers. That's how I see Capricorns, the administrators of the zodiac. In addition to that, next we'll move on to Aquarius. The Aquarians are the humanitarians of the zodiac. I look at these individuals as executive directors of a not-for-profit organization. They want to take up some cause for the benefit of all humanity. I've read in certain books that universal brotherhood is associated with Aquarius. And yes, they can be a rebel with or without a cause. I have the Sun conjunct Uranus and Sun parallel to Uranus myself. So in some way, I want to be different. And I think what I do, and you do it to some degree as well, because now I know your Sun is in Aquarius, where we both are merging business and astrology together and presenting that to the astrology community. And at some point, we will make our way beyond the astrology community, I believe, and just share that with the whole world. And so certainly like the thought of that, but those are some of the things that come to mind when I see Aquarius on the midheaven. And with that, with each of the zodiac signs that we just identified, make sure you take a look at the ruler of that zodiac sign and where is it in your chart. So I can share with you that while Venus is the ruler of my midheaven, Venus is in my 4th house, the house of home. And what do I really enjoy? And how do I generate most of my income? Online, at home, at my dining room table, where you find food.
It's incredible how it lines up.
You see how it fits? Yes. So for those of you, whatever the ruler of your midheaven is, if you find it in the 4th house, you may find that if you don't currently, you may in the future generate a portion or most of or all of your income working from home, even if you don't do it via Zoom or the internet as I do and Nadiya does. You may find that you simply have a home-based business. That would be another expression of that. And that would have been my most and foremost interpretation of that aspect, if you will, before the internet was invented and before Zoom and Skype were invented. Definitely. And so then we have Pisces.
Pisces, that's me. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So an artist, someone who's an artist, musicians, just any form of artistry, whether the individual is a painter, a musician, I would even say singer, but we need a little Taurus in there somewhere because, Taurus rules the throat. So there has to be we want there to be some kind of connection, but certainly an artist, someone who is very colorful. Nadiya, I have seen you in action as well on YouTube or one of your channels, and you have a colorful personality. You bring it to life. And I just want to take a moment of personal liberty to acknowledge you again and to thank you. I think it was last year, year before last, Kepler College, we reached out to Nadiya Shah to ask her to serve as the host of our Astro Trivia game show, if you will. Nadiya said yes, and she came in and she delivered. And I also observed my dear friend and colleague at ESAR in August of 2022, where she was the MC that whole weekend. Nadiya, you delivered. So I want you to know I've been observing you. I appreciate the work that you do. And on a fun note, and, all those subscribers on YouTube, wink, wink. I know what that means in terms of dollars and cents, but I know where your heart is. I know what's on your mind. And I appreciate the time you take to give back to the astrology community and to pour in for everybody's benefit, all the individuals and all the organizations. So thank you with your Aquarius sun for benefiting that part of humanity that is known as the astrology community. Thank you.
Omari,
So I want to move.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
That means
welcome,
so much
Nadiya.
to me. That means so much,
You're
especially
welcome.
coming from you, someone I respect, who I know is doing their own incredible things in the world and in astrology as well. So just thank you for that. It's like one part of me is like, wow, I really needed to hear that right now. But another part of me is just feeling just so grateful for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you've earned it. You deserve it. And I like to acknowledge people when they're doing good work. I want to speak to it. I want to say it. I want them to know that, and because it's important. It's so important, I think, for us to do that. And now on to Pisces. Pisces on the midheaven. Again, this is a creative person. This is someone who also will focus on the future. And Pisceans are known as the martyrs of the zodiac. So they are also a type of personality who will take up a cause and show that not that intimate and madly in love passion, but compassion and for humanity, and some person who comes to mind, and I don't know her birth chart either, is a Mother Teresa. How could she not have been someone with Pisces and Neptune, or even some Jupiter pronounced in her chart? She was so selfless, in her way, as a Catholic nun, a nun, with the Catholic Church. And she was selfless, and Mother Teresa. So someone like that comes to mind, just really having compassion for everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you have done, what you have not done, so forth and so on. So those are and someone who certainly is spiritual in nature, and even someone who may do, as a professional, be the professional who works with individuals who participate in sleep studies and dream work. Someone who does that, because I know a few people who have participated in sleep studies. So the professional who conducted the study is potentially someone who may have Pisces on the cusp of the 10th house. So those are the 10 zodiac signs, each one on the cusp of the 10th house.
Incredible. Look at that. Just like that, all this wisdom comes out. And, Omari has so much more to say about vocational astrology, understanding career and work and money in your chart. And you can learn from him at Synchronicity University this March as part of the March 2023 speaker series. You've got just a couple of weeks left from the time this interview is publishing to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, to see your chart and see your career and see your work and see your money through the lens of this brilliance that is Omari Martin. Omari, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm just sending you such gratitude. And thank you for being a part of not just this episode of Synchronicity Web TV, but my school as well. I'm so honored to have you.
Thank you. And it is an honor for me to be a part of Synchronicity University and to have an opportunity to work with you. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. And until we connect again, take care. Bye.